Okay, well, good afternoon, everyone, or good morning now. We're usually in the afternoon. I guess it's 11:35. Good morning, everyone. Just got back off the road. We've got a lot of recruits on campus starting today, and then it'll be fun because we get back with our players starting tomorrow with practice. Tomorrow's Saturday, we get another practice. Then it kind of leads us in for the next week. Before we leave a week from Saturday to head to Orlando. So let's tackle a couple things. One, let's talk about the roster and the transfer portal. As we all know, it's a changing time in athletics, not just football. It's happening in a lot of sports, and it's happening to a lot of institutions. And we got hit with a number of kids that have entered the transfer portal and that have left. And a couple things I'll say. One, some of this is getting an opportunity to move closer to home. Some of this is an opportunity to play more, opportunity to have more chances to get on the field. And we're really honest with our players about where they're at, and we want the best for our guys. I've told you guys since the day I got here, football is football. It's why my kid's playing at Kansas Wesleyan and not at Kansas State. And we got a lot of players that are way better than my son, but they want an opportunity to go play somewhere. And so that's part of it. And then some of it for sure is kids finding representation and then seeing what's out there from a name, image, and likeness standpoint. And what I know that Kansas State is doing, what we're doing from an athletic department is continuing to improve and enhance our name, image, and likeness. We've had some really good conversations even over the last few weeks, and people have had some over the last few months. And I'm excited about the trajectory we're on to improve that landscape of name, image, and likeness. But for me, what is really important with regards to that is, for starters, I think it's a positive thing for our student athletes. It's a positive thing for Kansas State on name, image, and likeness. But I want to make sure that the players know it's real and it's not an empty promise. And so that's where I think we've been really diligent to make sure that if we're going to sit in front of a family and say we have something for you, that we're going to be able to come through. And I know that there's some unkept promises, and that's what I feel bad for some of the student athletes across the country is maybe a number was said and it didn't come through. And I'm not going to sit and tell a family that we're going to try to help them with a lot of our great businesses in Manhattan, in the state of Kansas, and people that want to support us if we know that number's not real. And so we're moving in a really good trajectory on having a lot of real numbers that we can compete and compete well to make sure kids want to stay and play for Kansas State. I know that our culture has been mentioned. Is it still sound? Is it stable? It's really strong. Has it been battered and hit? You bet. So is everybody's in the country. But it's driven on people. It's driven on, for us, it starts on our first floor. We've got a tremendous strength staff led by Tremaine Carroll that have been developing guys and been here with me for a number of years now. And he and his staff love those kids, challenge those kids, make them the best version of themselves. Scott Troush in nutrition does a phenomenal job of continuing to develop guys and continuing to give kids the right information and education to continue to put great lean muscle mass on. Mindy Hoffman and the athletic training staff who do a phenomenal job with recovery, phenomenal job keeping our athletes healthy and safe, phenomenal job everybody down there of building relationships with players. And so our culture is strong. Has taken a couple of body blows, but it's going to stand the test of time because of the great kids we have in that locker room and the great coaches that are great role models and mentors for these kids. So I don't know if the landscape is going to change much. We'll find out at the next few legislative sessions. But that's where we're at in the landscape of transfer portal, name, image, likeness, those things. And I think we're going to keep moving in a positive direction at Kansas State. I'm really confident we are because we've already done some really good things. On to the bowl game quickly. Connor Riley will be the interim offensive coordinator and will call the offense. He did, kind of led the group last weekend on Saturday and Sunday, and I was excited for Riles' opportunity. I'm not going to do anything with any of those positions until after the bowl game. I need to process some things. I need to have some conversations. But we're not going to change everything we're doing offensively. We've had too much success in 21, 22, 23 for us to say we're going to make wholesale changes. But we're going to make some adjustments and continue to evolve, just like we're going to do on defense as well as we evaluate every year. But that stuff with coaches and stuff will take place sometime after the bowl game. So with that being said, there's probably no questions. I appreciate it. Everybody have a great Christmas. We'll see you in Orlando.
You talked about, Connor, with the offense. What about who's going to work with the quarterbacks?
It's a collective group of us that are doing it. And Josh Buford will work with those guys. I like getting a chance to visit with them and meet with them and talk with them. We've got a great staff up there offensively. With all the guys, BA's been here with me all 5 years. Riles has been with me all 5 years. LePac's been with us for a handful of years. Middleton's new, but really fits in well with our group. So it's going to be a collective group.
And Jacob Knuth, have you gotten him?
We're going to be fine with Jacob. He'll back up Avery, and if he has to go in the game, we'll be fine.
And with all the transfer portal stuff, is the biggest concern probably depth, maybe special teams? Is it that where it kind of...
Arnie, no. I'm kind of excited because we have so many freshmen that even the ones that have played 3 or 4 games, this game doesn't count. So we can play those guys, and that was really good to hear for us. It was done last summer. And we're going to have a lot of kids have some opportunities to play that maybe haven't, but we also have a lot of our core guys still that are going to be on special teams as well.
It's been exciting times last 24 hours for Cooper Beebe and also for the program. Just what can you say about him?
Earned, deserved, and developed. Coop came in here 4 years ago with aspirations of doing what he's done, and he's done those things. And it's hard work. He pushes himself. He's built his body up right. He's watched film. He's worked his technique. And to be a 2-time consensus All-American and him get a chance to go on the Ring of Honor the next time we have a group that goes in, it's one of the reasons he came back. And he's earned every one of those accolades that he's received. He's so thankful for the players he's played with. He's so thankful for the strength coach and nutritionist, athletic trainers, that's so forth. And he's thankful for Coach Riley for pushing him like he does, and the offensive line crew as a whole. So couldn't be more excited for Coop.
As you know, some players that have an immense amount of success at this stage sometimes opt out. How meaningful is it to you that he's going to be at the bowl?
It's really important for him. It was really important for that entire offensive line to go out together. They stayed together. They want to go out together. And, that's, to have all those guys not only come back for their 5th or 6th year, whatever it may be, but to say, hey, we're going out together and we're playing in this and having a great time in Orlando. And excites me is because we're going to honor these great seniors that are going to play their last game for K-State, but we're also going to get a snapshot into the future of K-State football as well.
That was my next question. This bowl's a little bit different than last year and some other ones because not just Avery, but so many young guys will be on the field playing essential roles.
Yeah, we're excited about that because there's a number of them, and there's a reason every week that we do development, good against good, young against young, whether that's special team, offense, or defense. There was not a week that went by that we didn't pause the practice and say, put the ball down and let's go. All the guys that we would say are redshirting or not in the travel squad, not in the 2 deep, have had reps every week. Typically, we do it on Tuesday and Wednesday. Last Saturday and Sunday, they got most of the reps. We do a lot of special team stuff with those guys. So to answer the question of, boy, a lot of these guys are going to get their first opportunity. Yeah, but they've been prepping for this since August 1st. And so there's a lot of veteran guys that are going to play too, and a lot of guys that everybody has heard of and have been a part of this for as long as I've been here. But there's going to be some young guys who are getting an opportunity too. I'm excited for those guys.
You opened this press conference by talking about the NIL and transfer portal, two things that didn't exist when you took this job just 5 years ago. How much does the NCAA need to maybe adjust some of the clock here with recruiting and transfer portal and bowl prep, all this falling at the same time?
We need to quickly because the calendar's a little bit out of whack right now. Hosting high school kids, hosting transfer kids, having a signing period, not binding the transfers by a signing period. And then, whatever kids from whatever schools enter the portal, whether it's after a championship game, after a bowl game, whatever it may be, and then they have a small window to come in and visit schools again, but you can't go out and see them. It's a lot of things have to adjust. We've known this as an industry and as coaches. We talk about it all the time. I wish there were a commissioner of football in college, at least the Power 5. Gosh, I wish there were, so we could get all the people together and come to some resolution and come with some great ideas and get coaches in the room with some administrators. It just hasn't happened yet.
Let me know when that job comes open. Finally, we're here to talk about the bowl, but give me your early thoughts on NC State.
Haven't watched any film yet. I walked in with Clanderman and Standard, and they were watching some of the film, and they're a really talented football team. But I haven't got a chance. I don't know if Dave's probably had a lot of chance at NC State to watch us with everything going on either. But now's your chance to start diving into it. I've got so much respect for Coach Dorn. I've known him for a while. He's done a phenomenal job there. We've visited with their staff defensively in the past, so there's some similarities there. I know they've been really hot towards the end of the season, so I think it's going to be a terrific bowl game.
You have to recruit from the transfer portal, junior college prospects, high school prospects. How much time and investment now do you have to use to recruit your own roster during this time period as well? Yeah,
but I really think that needs to happen all year long. And that's something that we've talked about as a staff, and what other ways can we continue to do that? Building relationships is building relationships. You got to continue to do that day in and day out for the whole year. We're going to talk about some things that once we get to February and slow down for us coaches, that maybe we can have some more in-depth conversations more often, and not maybe season's end, spring ball end, fall end. Maybe it's winter conditioning and maybe it's fall camp end. I mean, there's a lot of things that are thrown at these student athletes too, and some of the things that you might have a conversation with them about early in the season might be different later in the season based on injuries, based on we plan on redshirting, all of a sudden, boom, you got to play. There's so many things that we need to continue to get out of our comfort zone as coaches and find more unique ways to visit with these guys throughout the season about the tough issues, not just about game plans. We got to talk about more of the tougher issues, and I think everybody's got to do that. I know what happens in men's basketball because I saw that last May with everybody, or April when that was a revolving door with a lot of kids leaving, and it didn't. We have, I don't know, you guys know better than I do, the amount we had last year in totality compared to the amount they have this year, it just came all at once because of the recruiting calendar. Just like boom, that had to happen right then. And a lot of people are dealing with the same. Guys, when you talk about all those things, I'm on the phone with coaches all day long too, with my peers of, what things that they're doing, how are they handling some stuff too. And we got to get all of our heads together and see how we can continue to make it better for these guys.
Something everyone else also goes through is sometimes you are surprised by a kid or two entering the portal. How tough does that make roster management in this crunch, and do you almost have to scramble because of it?
Yes, you're always going to be surprised by a couple. I think everybody's going to have that, but in the respect of scrambling, that's where I think Fitz asked. It's hard because you feel like you have to be in a scramble because the window is so short. That's why kids get in when they do, so they can go visit a couple places. But the challenge is, as you scramble, you might make a mistake, and that's something that, we're trying to go visit people. We're trying to contact high schools. We're trying to contact parents. We're trying to contact everybody we can so that we add positive influences to that locker room and not negative influences, because it's still their team and they got to make sure that they fit. And that's why it's important on these visits that they get around our players.
Coach, I think I know how you'll answer this or handle this, but from the end of the Iowa State game to now, would you use the word frustrating? I mean, you're very positive, but is that the right
challenging
word?
More than frustrating. I mean, guys, this is college athletics, and sometimes I get the feeling, because I am hard on myself. I wear my emotions on my sleeve an awful lot, that this is only happening in Kansas State football because that's my world. But I also know it's happening a lot of other places. But I care about these kids. I care about their parents. I care about the program. I care about the kids that are here in the locker room and what they're thinking and what they're going through. And then all of a sudden, see you're on the road. And you can't stop and say, hey, I brought everybody back in and got off the road when CK left and had that opportunity to visit with them. And I thought it was a really good conversation. Then you're back on the road again. That's where the calendar, we've got to get some things back in order, so that the number one goal is to keep your guys that are here and keep them here for the long haul. Keep them here for 4 or 5 years. I don't think there's any kid that goes to a school and says, well, I'll give it a shot. If I'm there a year, if I'm there 2 years, I'll give it a shot. And if not, I can go to the next school. I hope that's not what's going on, because that's not good for college athletics. And I know that it's not one person that keeps a player here. It's a collective group. And that's where we have these optimal performance meetings where I meet with everybody that runs departments, from strength, nutrition, athletic training, operations and stuff, of what more better things we can do to keep our current guys happy, keep them here, keep challenging them, but we got to keep loving them too. So I'm saying more frustrating, not disappointing,
Would you identify if there were one or two that did surprise you?
I'm not going to talk about any names, no.
Will Connor stay down or will he be up? And either way, why?
I don't know. I've been on the road. I mean, those are things that we need to have a conversation as a staff, because I sure as heck wouldn't want Connor Riley to hear that in a press conference. And Rouse and I have not had a conversation. We've been on the road recruiting together, and we, for a day, I think I've been with him. Yeah, I was with him for a day. But, I mean, I don't – hey, Rouse, by the way, I told these guys here's what we're going to do. Blame Walters. It's a lot of well, I blame you for some stuff too, but that's more different industry. So the conversations that we've got to have happen after this weekend, after we get the recruits out, and we can kind of catch our breath and work with our current team.
With Connor, are you treating this as an audition for the full-time job, kind of like you did?
Yeah, I have to. Absolutely, I have to.
What do you think it is about him that could make him a good offensive coordinator?
I sit in the offense and defensive room pretty equally split, and I think the misnomer out there that people have is the offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator makes every decision with little input, and everybody just kind of delegates with the coordinators. The conversations that go on in both rooms, there's a lot of guys in both rooms, and I think Klieman would tell you this, and I think CK would tell you this, that could call a game. So there's tons of conversations that I hear, great banter back and forth, getting game plans for both offense and defense. And Connor's been around me the longest, dating back to our days as assistants together. And I feel it's his opportunity to be out in front of the guys, because he's out in front of the guys anyway from an O-line run game standpoint. Now I'm excited for him to get out in front of the group as a leader for this 2 weeks.
What would you say most excites you about the idea of watching Avery Johnson play an entire game?
Probably the preparation, and it's interesting. You're like, well, what about the game, Coach? No, the preparation where you're the guy, and we get to go through all the things that you like. What things in the pass game do you like? What things in the run game do you like? And let him have some say, and let him see the game and say, well, this concept, this kid is a sponge, and he loves watching football. The kid is a junkie. And that's what's going to make him really, really special here, is he is a junkie. And he already is special, guys. We know that. But the fact that he's going to be able to come and say, I like this. These are concepts I feel comfortable with. And so I'm looking forward to the preparation over the next, 2 weeks now before our game, as he continues to evolve. And I'm excited about our conversations that we're going to have from my vantage point as a defensive guy to see what he's seeing and see how I can help him as well. But the stage isn't going to be too big. We all know that. This kid's confident and he's going to be ready to sling it around.
I also just wanted to check, are you expecting any other sit-outs other than Ben or Phillip?
I don't think that we will. I really don't. Once again, talk about surprises, right? I knew a couple of them were, because they have contacted me, and I so appreciate guys that have done it the right way to contact me. Coach, can we talk? I just want to talk about where I'm at with this process on the bowl game. Great. And I've had some good conversations with a couple of those guys, the Bens and the Phils and stuff. We've had good conversations, and I'm going to support our guys because many of those kids I brought here and told their families that I would support them and help them. And those are the conversations we're having, but I don't see any more.
This may be a little bit odd, but I want to go back to that commissioner thought. You talked about some of your colleagues. Is that something that you think is possible? Is it something that you've talked to those guys about?
I don't know, guys, if it's possible. I mean, we're all over the map right now, and I think we've got really good commissioners of our conferences. I know the one, and I think Brett is phenomenal. But I know Brett knows that we're having some frustrations as coaches, and frustrations overall with college athletics and with college football, more from, like Fitz was saying, calendar, and does it all match up, and how can we make this a little bit more seamless, even though it's never going to be seamless. Those are probably more questions for Gene, because he's in on way more meetings than I am. But think of how much has changed since I got here. Forget transfer portal, name, image, likeness. Conference realignment. Think how much has changed since I got here. I can't imagine what's going to still happen in the next 3 to 5 years. And I think we're just scratching the surface of what's going to happen.
With what you said, does that impact how long you want to do this?
Why are you asking so many questions? I mean, for crying out loud. People are going to think I'm really mad at him. No, now Fitz. So, no, I'm not mad at Matt Walters. I love doing what I'm doing. I have the greatest boss. And everybody knows he's a dear friend of mine, but he's a great boss. And I love the kids that we have the opportunity to go and coach. And my favorite time is going out on that practice field and coaching and having a blast with those guys. There's a lot of things that are frustrating that everybody's dealing with. Coaches, players, support, everybody's dealing with. We need to see what happens over the next couple of years, and I think we're going to get some improvements for sure. Because everybody knows there's some issues in college athletics. We can get some improvements.
This one won't rub you wrong.
Oh, boy.
Is the fact that it's Orlando for the first time, does that help in terms of mindset? It's not a been there, done that bowl?
I'm excited about Orlando. I learned first time K-State's ever been in Florida for a bowl game, correct? That's pretty cool. Because of the bowl games that I've been to, it's the first time we've left before Christmas. That's a challenge in itself. The fact that we're not flying guys to the bowl site, the fact that we're all flying here out of Manhattan together, and then after the bowl game they go. Casey Feldkamp does a phenomenal job. She's the best in the business at organizing activities and organizing a detailed itinerary with a lot of great things for our guys. And the Bulls done a great job. They've worked together to give our kids a great experience. And so going to be good weather. Going to be an opportunity to be in Orlando with your brothers. Some of it one last time with these seniors. And we're going to have a lot of fun, but we're going to compete too.
With Coach Riley, the fact that he's going to be splitting some more time, does it help to have such a veteran offensive line?
Oh, yeah, 100%, yeah. And those guys could probably run all the drills themselves and probably would enjoy it. They wouldn't get yelled at. They would just run through the drills. But no, it helps for sure, And granted, he can still do a lot. There's a lot of offensive coordinators that have called it from the O-line as well. And we'll talk about all that stuff at the end of January, but that's how we're operating it right now, or sometime in January after the bowl.
And
yeah, that's a big piece to it. And I don't know why it changed. Last year we had more after the Sugar Bowl, but I think still that is more the landscape of college football of get in now while you can go visit places. And, some of the conversations that we had with guys, they're finding scholarships and having opportunities to go play. And that's the most important thing for me is those kids that are leaving. Many of those kids I recruited here. It's not like I all of a sudden can't stand the kid because he's leaving. That's not fair. They're 18 to 21-year-olds. I mean, if there's a better opportunity for a young man to get on the field and have a great experience, this game only lasts so long. And we've had a lot of coaches help some of these guys find some spots. And I think that's important for everybody to know as well, that we care about these kids. And I would say a lot of the kids that you could reach out to, I think deep down appreciate what the sports staff, the coaching staff have meant to them for the years they've been here. Haven't been around here. I've been on the road, but I was just super impressed on Saturday and Sunday last week at practice. And those older offensive linemen respect and trust him and believe in him. And I sure believe in him.
Are you guys fairly healthy going into the
I'll have to find that out, Arnie. I don't know. I believe so, but I'm not sure. Signing day, I can tell you a little bit about practice, but maybe let's honor the kids that sign. I knew this was going to be fun, Fitz, because there's just so much that I don't even know. But I think we are.
You know who we're playing, right?
Yeah, we're playing NC State. I just haven't watched very much.
Anything else? Yes. Last one. Walters took up all your questions.
I know it.
CK leaves. I'm sure you talked immediately with Avery. Did he give you any hesitation about not being 100% locked in?
He's here. He's with us. He's excited about this game, and he's excited about the future and leading this program.
Backup running back.
Got a lot of opportunities there. Got some really good young players. And let's let that competition – I don't want to name one guy and forget one guy. There's a lot of good competition there behind DJ that they're going to get some snaps. They're going to get some opportunities.
I don't want to ask exactly what you said because I'm sure it was a private conversation. But as emotional as getting him to say the first time was, what was your message to Colin whenever he said, hey, I'm
going to keep that between CK and I.